Hey everyone, happy hump day, happy therapy day, and we're going to talk about something super important today. This country. This country is important. I don't know why I'm laughing because it is important, but because the conversation gets so heated and what I put on here, divide and conquer, it's a real thing where everyone's all over the place. I think there's a lot of people this time around that are really, I think, more I feel like we're more divided than ever, and I feel like there is way more stuff going on here than I would like to admit. So, I wanna talk a little bit about that today, but what I also wanna talk about is you and how much I do appreciate you guys also very much, and that I love these days. As you know, Wednesdays are my favorite day because I get to see you all, and building this community, like I always tell you, has been extremely important to me, not only because I miss community, but also because I believe that, we are in a lot of problems in not only LGBT community, but in general in humanity when we can't disagree and still be okay with each other. So that's why I like building this community with you all, and you all mean so much to me. You know that. So I hope that you feel that from my heart and that I'm not just saying it, but I feel comfortable with you all. I feel comfortable talking about what I believe in. I feel comfortable disagreeing with you. I feel comfortable, being a transsexual person here. You don't ever make me feel that I'm not appreciated because of my disorder, and that I think we're proving that, so many people are so cool with trans people. As long as I'm cool with you, you're cool with me, and we can move forward, and it doesn't always have to be the topic of conversation, though it tends to be that a lot here just because we're in a weird space. So I see you all telling me where you're from. So if you're new here, if you say where you're from, I'm gonna shout you all out so I can show you how amazing this community has become. And I don't want to miss some of you here. So if I missed you, just do it again. Okay. And I see a Florida girls. Yeah, Florida girl, right on. And let me see, we got another Florida. Wow, that's awesome. And Massachusetts is here, Virginia's in the house, Illinois is in the house, North Carolina's in the house, New Jersey's in the house, Oklahoma's in the house, Salem, Oregon's in the house, Pennsylvania's in the house. You guys right on, everybody. I love you guys so much. Canada's in the house. And it starts to move fast, so I might miss you. Seattle's in the house, Liverpool's in the house. We got North Carolina again in the house. We got Alabama in the house. Right on, you guys. See, we're building such a great community. San Diego's in the house. We got another South Carolina in the house. Sacramento's in the house. New Jersey's in the house. Missouri's in the house. Hamden, Connecticut is in the house. And if you're new here, you're going to see such a diverse community. It's incredible. Sacramento's, New Jersey, Missouri, Tucson. I can't keep up with you all. Arizona's in the house. Upstate New York. Utah's in the house. Right on. Alberta, Canada's in the house. Minnesota's in the house. Dallas is in the house. And Washington State is in the house. Is that Illinois? I can't. Is that Lithuania's in the house? Right on. Ogden's in the house. Trucker in the house. Right on. I love you guys so much. Missouri's in the house. And it is so diverse. It's crazy. London's in the house, and Sweden's in. Is that Sweden? We got Sweden in the house. You're going to start to see a lot of UK's in the house. We do get people from all over the world here, and I find it really fascinating to me and really beautiful. And then we got England in the house that we can share. Florida's in the house. We can share this space with the world, which it's just fun to show you and to show how we got a born again Christian in the house. What I love about this all is that we can show these people who are the naysayers that, that I'm hated by people who don't necessarily have my lifestyle, which is complete bullshit. And we prove it here every week. We prove it that we can literally show Ohio's in the house. We just got so many an atheist in the house. Now we're getting into religion. Okay, how about this? We got Joshua Tree in the house. Right on. How about this? Let me do some shout outs to this. Let's do political parties. Okay, let's do political parties now. Let's move from where you're from right now to political parties, because I want to see how diverse the political parties are in this house right here. Okay, so if you want to, you don't have to. It's completely up to you. Okay, And then we could do, and we got a Mormon in the house, and then we could do religion if you want. But I want to do political parties next. Let's do that. So we got a Dem in the house, we got an independent in the house. I'm voting for the first time today. Right on. We got a Republican, we got a libertarian, we got a conservative, we got a Christian conservative. You guys are so awesome. I love you guys. We got an independent, a Republican, an independent. We got a registered. I missed that one. Went fat. A nonpartisan. Right on. Libertarian in the house. Republican in the house. Independent in the house. Center right in the house. Conservative. Republican. I don't see a lot of Democrats, which is kind of interesting. Republican, center left. We got a Mexican Republican. We got a Trumper in the house. Well, my parents are Trumpers, so it's all good. I have no, and honestly, I am not in any way, shape, or form. Apparently, I'm garbage. A constitutionalist in the house, a libertarian, a Republican, a pagan libertarian. Interesting. Center left, a MAGA in the house, a Republican in the house. Wow, you see this? This is so fascinating. We got a Trump, a Republican in the house, a pagan independent in the house. This is so amazing, you guys. Mega's in the house. You guys are so awesome. But I'm a Christian conservative in the house. I have a lot of Christian conservatives that follow me, which again, and neither party. There you go, friend. Okay, Jedi's in the house. Here's what I think was so powerful about all of you people here. First off, you're so solid in your space. You don't care. You're going to tell people who you are, which is all about what I talk about here. Secondly, if you notice, I have a huge amount of conservatives, Republican. I didn't see a lot of Democrats. I saw more independent in the House, which is interesting. I don't have a lot of Democrats here today, or for some reason you're not shouting yourself out. But I think because, I always tell you I'm a registered Democrat. But this is what we're going to talk about today. And so I think what's happening here is we're showing that it doesn't matter what my side of the aisle is. You are all so willing to have the conversation with me. And that is everything to me, not only about being an American, but also about being an LGBT member of that community, when many of you might not even be that, right? I'm not a Christian, yet I have a huge Christian a lot of follow, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people here are voting for Trump. I'm still literally not even going to tell you who I'm voting for. And there's a reason for that. And we'll get into that, okay, a little bit through this conversation. But I think this is so fascinating. So the first thing we showed straight out the gate is diversity and where everybody's from. So we got everyone from all around, not only the United States, but also the world in this room today. That's not just me. That's all of us participating in this. And I continue to want to tell you that. I don't think of this as my channel. I think of this as ours. And I think of this as our space to prove these people who continually want to divide us, okay? They want to divide me and you. Whether or not I'm a Democrat or not, but if I'm over here and you're over there, why can't me and you sit at the same table together? Why can't me and you say, I have a different opinion about what I want for this country and you have a different opinion? Why? I really, as I get older and as I become, I would say in my older age, I would say I have become a little bit more conservative in my ways. I don't know if it's because of my age, because of everything that I have been through to get to the other side, that I'm a parent, right? That I live a very sort of less party-like lifestyle. My sobriety might come into check. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I work out, I eat right. I believe in, really focusing on mental health. There's all these sort of things that I do that I think have grounded me in a way that says, well, there's nothing wrong with having conservative values in any way, shape, or form. I was actually raised in a very conservative household. And like I always tell you, my parents are Trump people. And I was raised in a Republican household, yet I've always been a Democrat on some level. And that's because my lifestyle, I think, and fighting for gay rights and all the things that now in 2024, we have so many rights as LGBT people. It hurts me to watch a community get torn apart with lies and deceit. Remember where I come from, everybody. I come from a space where there was no space for gay people. I was a gay woman. I dealt with the AIDS epidemic and lost all of my friends to AIDS at the time. So I come from a very And as this progressed and as people started to see things as gay people, that we just want to coexist with you, and that changed. And we got a lot of rights. And here's the other thing I really want to remind all of you here. See, look, we have a Republican Christian conservative in the house. Thank you for being here. That's so amazing to me, because they'll tell you that you don't like me. That's what they'll tell you. Or they'll tell me, oh, the conservative Christian Republicans don't like you, Buck. That's not true. That's actually not true. Me and you have respect. We might not agree on our lifestyles, but we have actual respect for each other, because you wouldn't be here today, I don't think, if you didn't want to learn a little bit more about me, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about you. But that being said, I really do feel, as an older LGBT member, that we do have a lot of rights in this country, and we fought, and men and women died, really seriously, not only by the AIDS epidemic, but also because of getting beat up and the anti-gay rhetoric in this country, to get to a space today where I can live and coexist with you, where there are actual churches that accept LGBT people. That's huge. And I really feel sad that a lot of the younger generation doesn't see that, and they don't see what they have. So I'm the guy who always sees the glass half full, right? I don't see the glass half empty. And I think we're teaching younger people to see things that they don't have, as opposed to see things that you have. And in my age, and in through all the fighting that I have done to get to this space, I actually figured out how to get you and I to live in this space together. And you know how I learned that is by reaching my hand across the aisle to you. Even if you don't reach to me, I have learned to reach to you and say, hey, my friend, I'm full on willing to listen to why you think I shouldn't exist, or why you think this is this way, or why you think that way. And by having conversation with each other, we start to learn, oh, wait a minute, that's not true. You don't hate me. You just don't believe this certain thing. But it doesn't mean, because you don't believe it, that you hate me. That's the rhetoric that keeps being pushed onto you and I, and then keeping us separated from each other. So to parlay into this conversation today, which is America, right? Divide and conquer. And so what I see, in how many days do we have until the election? Not many. It's like 5 or 6 days we have until the election is here. All I see from both sides, and I'm going to tell you, I see it from both sides. You can totally disagree with me. Is just insane craziness towards each other, and I do see lies coming from both sides. I do. And I will also tell you this. I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting for, but just because I just don't believe that's going to keep my communication level open with everybody. And I just kind of feel like it's a personal thing for me right now. And I hope that you respect that. And so with that, here's what I want to tell you. As a registered Democrat, I feel very torn, because I agree with certain things from both sides of the aisle. Does that make sense? I agree with things from both sides of the aisle. So I started to think to myself, what if, because we have another party, the Independent Party, we have the Green Party, but I don't necessarily agree with those parties. So I was wondering, what if, because we have to really get rid, I think, of the two-party system. I really do believe that, as an older person in this country. I think as this country has grown and things change, right? Things change. Things don't always stay the same. I don't think those parties necessarily represent all of us, right? They might represent you, and that's awesome. Right on, friends. But I feel that there's a huge middle ground of people that are feeling less um represented, if that makes sense. So I thought to myself, instead of having a third or fourth party in this election, what if there was this thing called like a bucket, right? So you have the Democrats and the Republicans, and then you have a bucket in the middle. And for the people who aren't going to vote, or feel divided enough to feel like, I don't want to vote for this person and I don't want to vote for that person because I don't like either side enough to feel that my vote could go either way. What if your vote went into a bucket, right? And then that bucket was counted. And then that bucket was a lot of people. And then we were like, okay, that shows to me that there is a huge amount of people not feeling represented, right, in this particular election. because I think it would be better than not voting. Let me see what you all think about that. Like a bucket or something where your vote gets counted, but it doesn't go to either party, and it doesn't go to libertarian, and it doesn't go to that. I think it would be stronger if it was literally like a middle ground vote, right? And then we took that middle ground vote and we said, well, wait a minute here. There's a let's say it's 20% of the people. That's a lot. And it was 20% of the people who don't feel represented. How could we utilize that particular sort of space to say, okay, now we have to figure out what to do in the next election? So I think that's kind of where I feel at this point. If there was a bucket that I could put my vote into, I would put it in the bucket. And it doesn't mean that I disagree with everything on both sides. It means I don't feel 100% represented in this particular election today. So let me see what you all think a little bit, and I'll bring out a couple super chats right here. Thank you, Cecilia. Thanks for always being here, Cecilia. I appreciate you. Something like a vote for no confidence. Yeah, that's right. That's right. 100%. Thanks, Cecilia. Yeah, something to that effect, right? Where we're all sort of tired of this situation. Just write in Mickey Mouse. I mean, I would actually vote for Mickey Mouse. I think I would vote for Mickey Mouse at this point. But the problem for me is I agree on both sides. Elaine, thank you, friend. In Sweden, you can vote blank. But then, Elaine, what happens to that blank vote? Where does it go? Because I don't want it. That's the other thing is like, okay, it might be blank, but then are you counting the blank votes? And then what happens to those blank? Because you can't always continue to have blank voters. That's not representing. Then I feel misrepresented, if that makes sense. So what do we do with the blank votes? Right? So, Buck, I could go back in time and save Lori from becoming Lana. Perhaps I vote for. Yeah, you're obsessed with Lana. Mr. Vorney, you're obsessed with Lana, and who cares about them? Who cares, honestly? Buck, you know what? Who cares about them? Really, honestly, like, I don't understand. Who cares about them? You guys know I talked about Lana and Larry Wachowski, and I have a connection to them, and who cares, right? Like, just let people, but I don't know why you care so much. Here's the other thing I want people to understand. You all know that I'm full on against transitioning of children. I talk about it all the time. I do not believe there's a thing such as trans kids. It doesn't exist. These kids are just kids who are, and how do I know this? How does Buck know this? Let me tell you how Buck knows this. Because I was a kid who dealt with some stuff when I was a kid. I wanted to be a boy, whatever that means. Do you know that my mom was telling me the other day as I write my book and I talk to my parents, you know what my mom said to me? She goes, when you were 4, my mom said this to me, when you were 4, you put on your dad's underwear. So thank you, friend, for being a member. I totally appreciate that so much. At 4, I put on my dad's underwear, right? So what? So what? My parents thought it was like, whatever. They just let me put on my dad's underwear and walk around. And, at 4, I don't remember. I barely remember 10 years old. I barely remember yesterday. But that didn't make me a trans kid, right? That does not make you a trans kid because you are leaning towards something masculine or something feminine. That means nothing. Because if that was the case, how come trans kids didn't exist up until 10 years ago? How come? How come? Because it's not real. And then some people will say to me, well, Buck, because there was no name for it. That's not true. Gender dysphoria has existed forever. It has existed forever. There is no doubt in my mind. But many people can live through their gender dysphoria and not feel like they have to, thank you, friend. Thank you. The vote is counted and presented. Presented where, though? That's my confusion. Ranked voting, technology, questionnaire feedback. Right. I think we just need to start to understand that. Anyway, let me just get back to this real quick. One of the big issues in our voting today is trans. Do you all know that? I'm sure you do. It's one of the big political talking points is trans. And how do you think that makes me feel? It doesn't make me feel happy in any way, shape, or form. It should not be a political talking point. My gender dysphoria, my disorder, my feeling not comfortable walking the world a certain way should not be a political talking point. And it sucks because both sides are using these talking points, okay? The Democrats are saying trans kids are kids. They're going to take away healthcare for kids, which means they're going to take away healthcare for adults, which is complete, total BS. I'm telling you right now, that is not true. Adults will always continue to have access to medical care in this country. Now, when it comes to children, I'm a transsexual who agrees that children should not have access to any type of hormonal treatment, affirming care when it comes to transgender, because there's no such thing as transgender children. And I cannot understand why anyone would want to do that to a child and put them into a space where when they get old enough to think about, we all know the brain doesn't stop. But why are we being used as a political tool? It's disgusting and it's wrong. Everyone knows who knows anything about human beings that the brain does not stop growing until like age 25 or something to that effect. Why would you give puberty blockers and medications to children when they're not even done, not only growing in their body, but growing in their brain? I also was reading about steroids, about bodybuilders and steroids recently, and how steroids, more younger and younger men are starting to use steroids. This is scary. Okay, this is not even trans. It's nothing to that. It's young boys who want to have big muscles. Hey, Lizzie, thank you, friend. My nephew likes his nails painted, but otherwise, he's a stereotypical little dude. That doesn't mean, you want to know something, you guys? My kid, who's a boy, had long hair and he also wanted to paint his fingernails. Go for it, dude. Who cares? Never once did he say he was trans. Never once does he say he feel like a girl. He's a dude. This is what the problem is. So I know even as a trans person that doesn't make my kid trans. That makes my kid playing around with stereotypical gender roles or whatever that even means. I don't really care. If you want to wear a dress, dude, you go right ahead. You're going to get teased. I don't care. That's your problem, not mine. Okay. And I, as a transsexual, would always tell my child, you are not trans. I would tell them that. I'm sorry. It can bother any of you who have trans kids. I don't care. I would never, ever put my kid in a position to be trans until my kid grew up to be an adult to make that choice on their own. You're on your own, kiddo. When you go to college and you're on your own, however you want to identify, I'll deal with that then. But it's really the responsibility of the parent to push back on this stuff. Because there's other things that I'm sure if your kid came home and said, Mom, I'm an alcoholic at 10, what would you do? Oh, okay. You're an alcoholic. let me go down to the store and buy you a 6-pack of beer. I mean, it's basically the same. You're doing the same insanity, right? You're totally helping your kid become an alcoholic. And yeah, it is the same. It's literally the same thing. So now we're seeing young 16-year-old kids starting to want to use steroids because now out there you see muscle men and they're all the young boys are obsessed with abs, right? They're literally obsessed with abs. My kid at 12 is obsessed with abs. It's a thing dudes are obsessed with. And now they all want to start taking steroids. So I'm listening to this whole program on steroids and how, because I want to know more about, testosterone, long-term effects of it, what it does. I keep up on my research around it. So they found that so many new young boys, these aren't trans, none of that, are starting to take steroids. Now, 2 of the side effects that so far in this video that I was listening to, one of them is brain growth. They even said it right there. Brain growth. They said the brain doesn't stop growing until the age of 25. So what happens is now you are stunting this child's growth of the brain. Number two, it also stunts your height. The way how high you how tall you are. So all these kids are going to have these health problems from taking steroids. So let me pose this question to you. What's the difference between a 16-year-old boy that all of us here would probably say, oh no, that 16-year-old boy shouldn't be taking steroids just because he has basically body dysmorphia, because that's what it is. He doesn't want to be a scrawny little kid. He wants to be a muscle man like the superheroes. What's the difference between that and giving a 16-year-old girl testosterone because she has gender dysphoria and she's trans? What's the difference? I'll drink a little coffee and wait for a couple of you to answer that, because I want to know. I want to know what's the difference. If they're, because to me they're both dealing with some kind of dysphoric space. But why is it okay to give a girl testosterone because she has gender dysphoria affirmed after one, but the boy taking steroids, we would all lose our shit over and be like, no, there's no difference. That's right. No difference. That's right. No difference. That's right. My husband had to jump through hoops to get testosterone. The difference is it's much worse. Okay, Buck, I have an important trans health. Okay. Long-term effects. Both of them have long-term effects. Both. So you all see what I'm trying to make the point here. The point I'm trying to make to you is this. There's no difference between a 16-year-old girl wanting to take testosterone. Thank you for being a member. I do appreciate it. Wow, 4 months. Right on, friend. There's no difference. You cannot prove to me that there is a difference between a 16-year-old girl wanting to use testosterone, which is a steroid. It's why I look like this, because I take testosterone. Okay. And I'm a girl, I'm a female. And a 16-year-old boy wanting to take steroids because he wants to have bigger arms, right? There is no difference. I'm going to disagree. We have drop in testosterone happening in young men right now. There are several factors. Really, kids are facing serious problems. Yes, that's right. We need to understand why this is happening. Thank you, Cecilia. We really need to understand why this is happening. These are children, people. These are kids. We're talking about kids. We're talking about young kids. Every single person in this room was a child at one time in your life. That is the one thing you and I can come to the table with here. You and I have all experienced childhood. You and I have experienced drama during childhood. I don't care if you were the most liked person in school, you still dealt with drama, or you were the worst liked person, or you got bullied, or you dealt with body issues, or you weren't the best football player on the team. Every single person in this room, okay, has dealt with something in their childhood. And that's why you and I can come to the table understanding why children should not be in this situation. And now our political parties are using trans kids are under attack. No, they're not. They're under attack, okay, because they shouldn't ever even be on the table. Trans kids shouldn't even be coming out of our mouths. Number one. Number two, let's say there was a kid, because there is going to be a kid. Let's not pretend like there's not going to be one or two or how many kids that are dealing with a high level of a dysphoric space. Right? There is. I mean, there just is. But to give them medication when they're not fully formed or understanding, number two, and number three, do you all understand that there was an actual study done in this country for the last 10 years by the Los Angeles Children's Hospital by Dr. Joanna Olson Kennedy? She was given $10 million to do a study about trans kids. Do you know that that study was not released? Yet she was given $10 million by the government, our government, to study trans kids. And if you didn't know, the outcome of that study stated that nope, does not help the well-being of these children. That was the outcome of the actual study that this doctor did not release to the public because this doctor, number one, didn't like the outcome, and number two, said she didn't want it weaponized against trans kids. But wait a minute. The study said there is not. The study said no. Don't give these kids puberty blockers. They're not benefiting from it. Do you all know that? She stole the money. She's unethical. Right there, we're proving this doesn't help kids. Yet the doctor who is studying these kids, you know that doctor, the Los Angeles Children's Hospital is the #1 provider of transing children. Did you know that? Yeah. Yeah, it's a true thing. I did a video on it. If you want to go watch my reaction video, I'm so pissed about it because now it proves it doesn't help the well-being of the children. It did not move the children forward. So she continues to contradict herself, right? She continues to contradict herself. She said these children came in with good well-being and they left with good well-being. Really? Then why are you doing the study? Number one. Number two, all they kept saying, if you remember, everybody remember this, all these people would say, they weaponized the trans kid thing. If we don't give these kids gender affirming care, they will off themselves. Remember that? That's all they used to say. If we don't give them, yet she contradicted herself and said all of the kids that came to the study were perfectly happy and fine kids. And when they left the study, they were perfectly happy and fine kids. What? Yet you're telling us if we don't do it, they're going to off themselves? Perfectly well, mentally well kids don't off themselves. So we're proving more and more and more that this is not real. Yet here we are in a political space today where they're not only one of the #1 things they're using on both sides is the trans debate. Should trans kids be kids? Okay, you know what? Hold on here one second, friends. Hi, conservative Christian. Thank you for being here. See how many conservatives? I love you guys so much. I'm not a conservative Christian, but I love you. I think it's just amazing and so awesome that you show up to my channel and that you have conversation with me. It's just the most amazing thing. We're proving them all wrong. Me and you can sit at the table together, my friend, and have a coffee or a beer or whatever you want to have. And we're proving everybody wrong when they say, oh, the conservative Christians hate you, Buck. You're bootlicking. Really? I'm not forcing anybody to come to this room. And here you guys show up. So that's the bullshit that these crazy people, and that's why I'm so over the whole political divide. And don't tell me I can't vote for somebody. If I want to vote for somebody, I'm going to vote for them. That's why I live in America. Hey, Emma, there is no need to medicalize androgynous kids. That's right. There's no need to medicalize children. That's even, I'm going to say this real quick before I bring this up. Even, what's it called? Precocious puberty. I don't know how you all feel about precocious puberty. But I interviewed, there's a person in this room right here, Elin from Sweden, and they gave her medication when she was, I think, 10 years old, and she has precocious puberty. And she says that she feels like she has a lot of health problems from it. Why are we giving kids with precocious puberty blockers? Why do you think we're doing that? First off, what does that even mean, precocious puberty? Do you know what that even means? Hey, Sherry, thank you, friend. Oh, thank you, friend. If this garbage happened when I was a kid, I believe without a doubt, the schools would have pushed me and hid it from my parents. It's why I'm so vocal about it. I appreciate you. Thank you. And that's why everyone should be vocal about it. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Everyone should be vocal about non-transitioning children. Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, all of us should be against it. That should be a really middle ground space that nobody should want children to be put in that position. So I want to, you all know what precocious puberty is? It means you're ahead of the game, right? So it's like a 5-year-old maybe starts growing bigger breasts, or maybe she's taller than the rest of her her classmates. So what? So what? Right? I mean, is it really worth the health of this human being to give them something like puberty blockers to slow them down? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why? But really, seriously, I see precocious puberty happens at early as 5. It stunts growth. I just right. So do you I just don't believe it should be made into such a big deal, right? I can understand that maybe yeah, there's Elaine. You should go watch her interview. It's really great. I can understand how uncomfortable it would be to be a young kid and maybe have breasts before the rest of your classmates, but the problem is gonna be the long-term effects. So maybe appearance. That's right, Ellen. That's right. So maybe what I'm trying to say is, are the long-term effects of this medication in for a short period of time worth the long-term effects? Does that make sense? I don't really believe that they are. I think the child can deal with a little bit of the uncomfortable stuff. And as they grow up and as their peers start to grow with them and they kind of level themselves out, big deal. I remember when I was in school and there was a girl, I think I was maybe 9 or 8 or 9, and she had bigger boobs than everybody in the class. And, of course, people sort of said things to her and stuff. But as we all grew together and we all started becoming the same as her, but I think the long-term effects of this medication is worse than the short-term effect of the maybe being ahead of your peer group, if that makes sense, right? So I want to bring this up here because this is what I've been trying to show you all. I wanted to show you this. Some of the rhetoric that these insane, I'm going to call them woke lefties because that's not me, right? I'm not going to call them Democrats, though. They are all Democrat people who are saying this stuff. But I want you to see this. So Susan says, Buck, did you go through menopause or did the hormones? No, the hormones pushed me through menopause. I'll bring this up. Buck, did you go through menopause or did the hormones let you? But no. I went through a very intense menopause. Very intense menopause. We could talk about that. Lizzie says, I got my period at 10 and boobs earlier, and no one tried to stall it. It wasn't on the table. It's so bizarre to not let. That's right. And I bet you're perfectly fine because I know Lizzie. She's completely grounded and perfectly fine. So there's nothing wrong with that. You might be ahead and it might make you feel uncomfortable at that age. But I want to show you this. So this a-hole continues to throw this rhetoric out that is just so upsetting to me because he just loves to say this stuff. Hold on, let me just add this here. Hold on. Watch what he's going to say. Watch what this guy's going to say. You all love. It's your favorite. This one is your favorite. I know you all hate me right now. I know you all hate me because I'm bringing this wingnut up. This dude is such a wingnut freak. But I had to because I was looking for some political talking points to discuss today. So I needed to show you this because it's going to go to my point. I know you all hate me. It's going to go to my point, which is the rhetoric and the fear mongering, right? The fear mongering that they do to us on both sides. And this is just one of the fear. So I'm going to show you what Trump is saying and then how this wingnut is reacting to it. And you're going to see the whole fear-based space using trans. Okay. So watch.
No transgender, no operations. They take your kid. There are some places your boy leaves to school, comes back a girl. Okay? Without parental consent.
They hate girls and women. They will never drum up fear saying a girl goes to school and comes home a boy. These surgeries aren't happening. They're not real, but the fear is that a boy who's
listen, bitch, they are happening. So number one, I can't stand when they lie about it. It's happening. I've interviewed young people who've been given puberty blockers, and also here's what I'm going to ask, and I want to tell you all. They use this rhetoric. It's not happening. They also say it's not happening to kids. What age, put it here. What age do all of you consider a kid to be? Do you consider 18 and under to be a kid? Do you consider a 16-year-old getting their boobs cut off a kid? I do. So when they say no kid is getting gender affirming surgery, that's a bunch of crap, because I've known 13-year-olds who are getting gender affirming top surgery. 21 and older, 18 and under. See, that's a kid to me too. 25 and under. Well, in our country, 18 and above is an adult, so they can do whatever they want. But seriously, when they're talking about kids, they're saying they're trying to make us think it's 4-year-olds. No, buddy. It's not just 4-year-olds. 13-year-olds are kids. 16-year-olds are kids. Even 18-year-olds are kids. Okay. So yeah, we could get into it. I do believe that nobody should be getting this stuff until they're in their 20s, if that, and many, many years of mental health care before they even think about it. But in regards to this wingnut, he's a liar. He's always saying they're not getting surgery. 13-year-olds are literally getting their breasts cut off. So you're a liar.
Who's supposed to be better, dominant, more human, above the girls, is lowering himself to become a girl. That says all you need to know about.
That's not what he was saying. Also, listen, I'm going to bring this back again because I want you to listen to what Trump said. Listen to what Trump said.
You know, they take your kid. There are some places. Your boy leaves to school, comes back a girl. Okay? Without parental consent.
They hate girls and women.
No, buddy, you hate girls and women, okay? Because you keep acting like you're a woman and you keep telling people that biology isn't real. So what are you talking about, dude? You're the one who hates women, okay? Trump is telling you actual truths, just so you know. Actual truth. Children are going to school and they are transitioning, and this is a fact. I'm telling you, I don't care what, don't let the trans community gaslight you guys. This is actually happening. There are children. I interviewed a young child who went to school. They hid it from their parents. I have firsthand experience with this. Half these trans activists are just blowing smoke up your ass. I have actual experience with talking to these young kids. And this guy is a liar. He hates women because he's a misogynist a-hole who just gaslights the heck out of all of us. What Trump said is true. Kids are going to school, becoming trans, and then hiding it from their parents. Okay? That's a fact, an actual fact.
They will never drum up fear saying a girl goes to school and comes home a boy. These surgeries aren't happening.
I can't. I hate when they say that.
They're not real, but the fear is that a boy who's supposed to be better, dominant, more human, above the girls, is lowering himself to become a girl.
That's not what he's saying. You see how they gaslight us all? They gaslight us all. You're the one who's making us fearful, Jeffrey. You're the one who's making everyone fearful of trans shit. Am I making you fearful? I'm going to take a vote in here right now. Am I making you fearful of trans people, or is Jeffrey making you fearful of trans people? Because I'm honest to all of you. I always have been. I always will be. Okay? Jeffrey is the one gaslighting your fucking ass, gaslighting you, telling you that, oh, this isn't happening. All of the stuff that you all know. Okay? That's what's making me so mad. And I appreciate you all. And I will never lie to you. And I will never tell you things that aren't true, because I don't need to do it. I don't need to gaslight you. And I don't need to tell you things that aren't true. Okay? Because that's just not going to help me as a transsexual. And it's not going to help the transsexual people who need it. When you start lying about anything, okay, anything, you've lost people because you're going to be found out. It's why you can't lie. That's the number one thing you have to teach children. Do not lie. So when a kid goes to school and becomes trans, which is happening, what are they teaching kids? They're teaching kids to lie, not only to their parents, but to themselves, because you cannot change your sex. So they're telling kids, oh, you could become a boy or you could become a girl. No, you're never going to be that. You're never going to be that. You're always going to be struggling with your gender dysphoria. I struggle. Do you guys know that I struggle with my gender dysphoria? But I don't plaster it all over the internet. I struggle with my body. I struggle with wanting to be more masculine. I struggle sometimes with my voice. I struggle with my hands, with my feet, which I call lady feet. It's why I use humor. I use humor on myself sometimes. It's funny to be a man with a vagina, but sometimes it's not funny. And sometimes I struggle with it. But, I'm an adult and I have to be mature, and I have to learn that I can't change everything. But my point being is that I don't lie about it, right? Because by lying about it, it's making you not believe that I actually have a disorder. And instead of me coming straight up to you and say, I got a disorder, man, it's not normal. It's not normal for a chick to want to be a dude. That's actually not normal. Okay. You can't normalize this, but what you can do is say, we can help you, Buck. We can help you walk the world. We will let you do these things. We will be okay with you as long as you are understanding X, Y, and Z. So if you're not explaining to a 10-year-old, no, dude, you're never going to change your sex. No, dude, these are the things that you're never going to get. No, dude, you can't use this space or that space. You're never going to be able to play sports. You're not. Sorry. As a trans person, you just can't. Unless we make trans leagues, you're never going to be able to play sports. Sorry. I don't understand why why lying to people when you are anybody in this world. Okay, that's why they have men's and women's toilets. Women don't use the men's room and men don't use the women's room. And just because you're a woman doesn't mean you get to use the men's room. And just because you're, that's how screwed up this whole message has become. We have separation of things for reasons. Okay, so when a person like me comes into the mix, I don't get to just be where I want to be. That's not how it works. It's why I had to fix myself to make myself look like a man. So when you don't know me in the world and I just go to the airport and I go to the toilet, nobody gives a shit that I'm in the men's room because nobody knows me, and I am polite and I piss and I leave and I go. Because that's what being a transsexual person is. I respect you and your space. It's not the other way around. You don't get respect from people if you don't respect them. So I respect your space. And there'll be times now where I won't even use the men's room. Okay. I stopped using the men's room at the gym. You want to know why? Because I know people see me there and I don't want to make it uncomfortable for people. So now I use the gender non-conforming space. Back to 20 years ago when I had to do it. Because I respect you. And these assholes like Jeffrey have ruined it for all of us. They didn't ruin it just for you, just so you know. They ruined it for all of us. And I need for you to understand that there are actual legitimate people like me, trans men and trans women, who respect all of you. And we want to be part of the world. And it's why many of us have left the Democratic Liberal Party, because we don't see ourselves represented there. These are the people who are representing us in the Democratic Liberal woke BS. And that's not my space. I have never. Do you know what Democrats stood for? Liberalism, like letting people do unto others as you would do unto us, thy neighbor shit, all of it. You know what I mean? You don't want your neighbors peeking in your windows. Stop peeking in your neighbors' windows. Have respect gets respect. And that's why I used to belong to the Democratic Party, because I felt that was what I wanted to bring to the world. And what I wanted to show the world was respect. And like, I'm willing to do the work to look like a dude so that you don't feel uncomfortable and I don't feel uncomfortable. But now we have fuckheads like Jeffrey who are literally destroying the space that you and I built. And it's why people are leaving that party over there and coming here. Even, do you know how many LGBT people are Trump people? Do you realize that? Do you realize how many LGBT people are Trumpers? More than ever. More than ever. And the Democratic Party will not talk about it. They won't talk about it. I am a liberal at heart. At heart, I'm a liberal. It means I want you to have everything you can have, and I want to have everything I can have. And what I do in my bedroom is my business, and what you do in yours is your business. And we shouldn't be getting into other people's adult business. It is our business to do as we want, but that's not what they stand for anymore in any way, shape, or form. Lizzie, so many short bio guys with squeaky voices in my town. No one would even know that an eyelash At you, bat an eyelash at you, Buck. And lots of guys that pee sitting. I pee sitting down. I don't care that I want to be a dude. I mean, I can pee standing up. I made myself figure out how to do that. But that being said, I'm so old now. I don't care. I'm sitting. You know, so I want to get back to this idea here, right? Of our parties. And what does that mean? And I believe on so many levels that there is stuff coming out of both sides. And you don't have to agree with me, you just don't. But as a person who's been literally a registered Democrat my whole life, I do not feel represented by that space ever. Today, I do. I mean, I used to, but to now, nope, nope. I don't appreciate somebody being shoved into a space for a president without asking me. You know that that's what happened. They just replaced Biden with Harris without asking any of the voters. What party does that? Did they take our vote? Because that's not who I would have voted for to take place of Biden. Yet here we are, and everyone just went along with it like a bunch of wingnuts. Like, oh, okay. And then everyone on the left is like, well, vote because she's black and she's a woman. Since when? That sounds so. First off, it sounds sexist and it sounds misogynist to me on some level. It sounds racist to me. You're going to just vote for somebody because of the color of their skin and their sex? What? How have we regressed to that? How have we regressed to that? I am not going to vote for somebody because of the color of their skin or because of their gender. I'm not going to do it. That's not what our country is about. It's shallow. Thank you for saying that. It's not only shallow, it's undemocratic. We're supposed to vote for the best person for the job. That's what we're supposed to be voting for. We're supposed to have a country where you and I can vote as Republicans, Democrats, or middle ground without hating each other. We're supposed to understand that these parties are working for you and me. It feels like they're working for themselves. It feels like they have an agenda to beat each other up while we, as the people, stand back and are like, now what? Why do you think so many people are undecided? There's a huge amount of undecided people in this country because that's right. They want to keep us divided. I think you guys are all very smart people. I don't in any way, shape, or form think you would show up to this tranny's live feed if you weren't smart people. But we're smart. Me and you are smart. We see it. But we've got to see why they're doing this. Why are they dividing you as a Republican and me as a Democrat? Why are they doing that? Why do they want to keep us divided? Why don't they want to bring us together and say, okay, if Trump wins, let's work with Trump. Okay, let's work with him. Let's try to figure out how we, as the other party, as a more liberal-sided party, okay, how can we work with the more conservative party to find a space that you and I can live in this amazing country, by the way? I cannot stand the fact that people are hating on this country. You know, they teach young people in schools to hate this country. They teach people to say anti-American rhetoric. I think every kid who does that should go live in another country for a year. They'll be crying to mommy to come home. Okay? And let's see how much you dislike this country. And again, you don't have to agree with the values of other people. That's called democracy. You don't have to agree with what I say here. It's called democracy. You don't have to vote like I vote. It's called democracy. But what you and I have to do as American people is to find the common ground in order to get this country back into a space where you and I can live. I say it all the time. We've got to share the street. It's not your street and it's not my street. It's our street. This is our country. You are no better than me and I am no better than you. But in a democracy and in a vote, you've got to let the other party that wins. And now what we need to do, instead of being so bitchy about it and turning into a baby about it, we've got to figure out how to work together to get to that next level. And I think that's one of the things that's missing is our parties are not working together. They're not working together. Hey, Christopher, thank you, friend. Biden literally told a union worker constitute, I don't work for you. Oh, man, that's great. Thank you. See that? Why would they do that? How is that helping any of us? How is that helping our country? How is that helping us get back on track? How? Do people even know what a democracy is? Do people even understand that we vote you into office? Don't do that. Don't lie to me right now to get my vote, because a lot of it, this is what's happening right now. They're lying to us to get our vote. And once they get our vote, they're not going to do what they said they're going to do. That is a given. You and I both know that. You and I both know that. They tend to say they're going to do something and then they don't do it. It's why I don't like politics. It's why I don't like politicians. It's why we've got to get back to these things that you can't be a career politician. How did politics become a career? I'm like, look, I'm the dude that didn't graduate high school, just so you know. I don't consider myself a dumbass, but I'm not the smartest cookie on the block. Well, depends on what you, right? I have lived experience in the world, okay? I've lived everywhere, done so much. It's why I think I have a different opinion about many things, because I've had real lived experience and being homeless and all of the shit, crack addicted, and something I wish none of you ever to have. But that being said, why do we have career politicians? We should never have career politicians. That's when they stop working for me and you, because they have a different agenda now. They're not working for you and I. They're working for themselves to make a lot of money. Hey, Sue, the problem is that the far left and mainstream media have brainwashed people into hating Trump more than they love their country. That is a great statement. I believe you. And I don't like mainstream media. I don't like mainstream media. I think, yeah, term limits, 100%. It is one of the downfalls of this country when we made career politicians. It has destroyed so much of our political space. It's horrifying. And I don't believe, what happened to facts, people? What happened to the journalistic facts? We don't even have facts on journalism anymore. We literally live in South Park. Okay, I can go on and be a bitch about everything, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is build a bridge with you, okay? And what I want to do is know that the vote is important. And I hope that you are going to vote. And whoever you vote for, I still respect you and I still consider you a friend. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that me and you need to understand that it's our place to live, however we choose to live. Okay. And that we need to learn to get back to understanding that and respecting each other's choices in this country. Okay. Tia, thank you. If Trump wins, I guarantee that the wokies will have a huge tantrum and riot in the street. It's the only way they know how to. I know that they're proving that point, friend. Antifa, all of that nonsense. You're 100% right. I believe you're right about that. And that's the scary part, is they've destroyed that party. That's not my party, though. I just want you to know that. Okay. Okay. So vote. Whoever wins, me and you have to come together as people of this country. Me and you have to respect each other's votes. Okay. We can't hate on each other, because that's not going to make anything better for you and I. And before I go, I want to play a couple of these TikToks, but I want to just do this real quick, because this is my, I get a sponsor for my channel now. It helps me create all this content that takes a lot of time and energy. And I know that I've spoken to you before about Sliquid, but it's a great lube. I really talking to the women out there more than the men, and this stuff is amazing and it's really helped me a lot. And I created this great wash that is so amazing. It's called T-Wash. All of this you can get at sliquid.com, and I'll put all the stuff. Use Buck Angel for 15% discount. Okay, this is my sponsor of my channel, and they're amazing and beautiful stuff, and it's all natural and amazing, and that. So we could talk more about that on one of the other ones, but that's my sponsor for the channel, and I appreciate you guys so much. And I want to bring up one last hey Lizzie, journalists' jobs are threatened if they don't fit. Yeah, but that's not journalism narrative, and they don't know how much the support they would have if they were. Yeah, but that's not journalism. It should be illegal. I honestly believe that should be illegal. So I want to bring up one more wingnut here. hold on. I got a couple wing nuts, but hold on. Is it this wing nut?
See all the vitriol.
Yeah. Listen to this.
When I see all the vitriol that other trans and queer people give to me, that I'm embarrassing, that I'm the reason that we're experiencing discrimination because I look like a fool and no one's going to take us seriously. And I see that 17-year-old me in
gross.
them, and I
Gross.
love them because I love me. And how did I change? I changed because people loved me. Because other
Shut
gender
up.
variant people knew that I was mistaking my self-hatred as an identity.
Oh my
and bore
God.
witness to me with courage and conviction, and believed and loved and rooted and championed in me before I was ready to do that for my.
Do you know this dude is the creepiest dude ever? He so indoctrinates children into the whole trans, non-binary, queer space. He's a danger to the community, and I can't stand that. His name is ALOK, and he is disgusting. So I'm going to bring this one last wingnut up for you.
Genuinely so happy
Listen.
that my neighbor just put out a Trump campaign sign. As somebody who's autistic and trans and is an advocate for houseless people and
He always says he's autistic and trans. It's hilarious. He's the most hated on. Wait, sorry.
substance abuse, I now know to never go to that house for help.
See, there you go. There's the divide. There's the divide. So this weirdo is not going to go to the house next door because they put a Trump sign up. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. Like, come on. And who cares if you're autistic and trans? Do you have anything else going on in your life? Hey, Dan Z, thank you, friend. I'm anti-LGBTQIA because I'm pro-trans and pro-gay. Forgot to put a message in my first super chat, so you get a little extra buck. Thank you, friend. Right on. Yeah, right on. I'm anti-LGBTQIA pee poo poo. That's what we call it here. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay healthy. Do the vote. Okay, let's all be friends, even if we vote for Trump or Harris or whoever. We're still. Let's get our country back on track. We agree on so many things. And so don't let people gaslight you to think just because somebody's a Democrat or somebody's a Republican, you need to hate them. That's a bunch of bullshit. And that's what they're doing to keep us divided, to understand that you and I both belong in this country. We are all Americans and we all get the freedom to vote. And whoever wins, we got to shake hands and we got to move forward like ladies and gentlemen, and understand that we have the power to make change together, and the parties need to start to work together, because when the parties don't work together, the country doesn't work together. And that's one of the most important messages I can give you as an old tranny and who's been around the block and survived and is here today because I believe in reaching my hand across the aisle. So with that, have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm releasing some new stuff this week, and I really love you guys so much. And thank you also for supporting this channel. I can't do it without you. And so I think by the next live, I think is that after the election? I mean, I think it is. Oh, we have a lot to talk about. So I'll see you. I'll have a great rest of your week and a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later.